Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I will be providing my list of my top 10 favorite canon characters in the Star Wars books. As always, this is just my opinion, my list. If you have a different list, that's wonderful. I hope that everyone loves characters in Star Wars books, particularly in the canon books, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll probably make a Legends list eventually, but for right now I'm doing a canon list, and so why don't I get started with my number 10, which is Vimeirani, who shows up in Phasma and in Black Spire. This is her on the cover. What makes Vimeirani such a great character is her patience and her persistence. She's able to take the rebellion on Bakif from nothing to having an actual good rebel cell. You see her work really hard. She's very much devoted to her work, and you see her work really hard to build something. And you also see her resistance to pain. She goes through a lot in these two books. She is tortured, she is beaten, she is attacked, she is shot at, but yet she keeps going, and she sees an end goal, and she's going to work towards it. And so you have to really respect her for all of that. So I really like her character in Black Spire. We also, my number 9 is the character of Iden Versio. She is a commando specialist leader of the Inferno Squad. She originated in the video game as her creation, but she also appeared in the novel Inferno Squad. And what makes her so great in the book is that you see her have to infiltrate this rebel cell so that she can destroy it from within. And you have to see that she goes through quite a lot for this. And you see that she's a very flawed leader. She makes quite a lot of mistakes in this book, yet you see that she's trying to do the best for her team. And in the video game, she makes a lot of mistakes, and she's trying to do the best for her team. So I really like the way that they present her in this book. And I wish she's shown up a little bit more, but we could use more novels with her, and we could use more novels by Christie Golden as well. So the next character on my list is Galen Erso, who is, of course, most known for Rogue One, but he first, technically in his appearances, first showed up in Catalyst. And what I really like about Catalyst is that it feels like James Luceno really got how Rogue One was going to work, and he really did a good job of translating the characters into this prequel. And Galen Erso is such a great example of a different character that we get in Star Wars. He is more science-based. We get all these Jedi who are Force-based, and we get generals, and we get soldiers, and we get evil bad guys and politicians. We don't really get scientists much. Science is not something that's explored much in Star Wars because it's more of space fantasy than it is science fiction. So it's nice to get a scientist in these books, and he has these morals and these principles that he tries to cling to. And he does fail at times in the book to hold fast those principles, but you see that he still has them, and he's still trying to hold to them, and sometimes he recognizes sometimes it's good to compromise on some things in order to get other things. And so I really like his character, and it just feels like his character in this book really leads into the Rogue One, and I had more appreciation for Rogue One because I read about him in Catalyst. So I really like the character of Galen Erso. Speaking of different types of characters, my next is a villain, and that is Count Vidian from A New Dawn. He is the primary villain in A New Dawn, and what makes Count Vidian work is his business mind. We get to really see someone who is like a Gary Gecko or Larry the Liquidator, these types of guys you'd see on CNBC, these guys who are businessmen who go in, fix things, fix businesses, fix organizations, turn them around and make them better. And what you see is this guy who is ruthless. He's absolutely ruthless, but he's smart and he is determined. And you see him just going around fixing things. Forget the old way. Forget the old way. We're going to do this the right way. It's not about which one is first. It's about which one is right. It's that very much that 48 Laws of Power. I feel like Count Vidian would inhale that book or Machiavelli's The Prince. And I really like his determination to get stuff done. And so that's why Count Vidian is on my list. My number 6 is General Bakif from the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. He's particularly great in the third book, but he also has some great moments in the first 2 books. I think that what makes Bakif such a great character is his real willingness to listen to detractors. He realizes the potential that Thrawn has in this trilogy, and he pulls Thrawn in and holds him fast and really uses Thrawn a lot. And he actually disagrees with Thrawn a lot. He disagrees with Thrawn all the time, but because Thrawn's willing to work with him, and because he's willing to listen to disagreements, he makes the Chiss better. And Bakif is one of those that he doesn't want yes men, he wants the best men. And so he's able to surround himself with smart people. And so he turns the Chiss military into something that's great. And so you really see a good tactical side of him. And he also has a good heart, because there are moments, particularly in the third book, where he actually shows Thrawn great heart, more heart than I think even Ar'alani showed Thrawn. I think that Bakif really is one of the best characters in the Ascendancy trilogy. So that's why he's my number 6. Sticking with Timothy Zahn written characters, I'm going to go with Eli Vanto from the Thrawn books. He shows up in Thrawn and also Thrawn Treason. What makes Eli Vanto work so well is his everyday life. You know, one thing that I think that the audiobook people really, it was a risk, and I think it was a good risk, and that paid off, was making Eli Vanto have a Southern accent. He is not written with Southern slang in the Thrawn books, but you recognize he has this everyday, not sophisticated attitude towards him. And in the audiobook, they just put on a Southern kind of drawl to him. As a result, he seems really approachable. He seems like a really connected character. You feel like this is a character that would be like you. So many of these characters are so either exotic or so highbrow in their abilities and in their intellect and stuff that you feel like, oh, I'd never be like that character. I could see myself feeling like and being in the same position as an Eli Vanto, a middle management guy who just gets thrust into these crazy situations. But Thrawn recognizes Eli Vanto's abilities and really shepherds them, and so Eli Vanto actually becomes a quite smart tactician. And Eli Vanto is willing to, even though he has a kind of culture that he's around and likes being around, he's willing to listen to other cultures, and he's willing to listen to other ideas, and he serves as an excellent Watson to Thrawn's Holmes. So I really enjoy the character of Eli Vanto, and I really hope we get more from him. My number 4 is a character that I like this character at a certain point in his life more than I like in another, and that is the character of Snap Wexley or Temmin Wexley, as he's known in the Aftermath books. Temmin, or Snap, however you want to refer to him, is basically like a teenager, a preteen-ish, around the Aftermath books, who grows up into the sequel trilogy. And he is just a kid who really likes rebelling, and he really likes messing with things, and so he builds his own murder droid. He really is he tests things. He's willing to work hard for things, but at the same time, he has the same attributes as a kid. Kids are so hard to write in Star Wars, because usually you have a Jedi kid or a Force-connected kid, and so either you show them really young, or they show them like right before they become an adult, like Luke and Leia. But here we see someone who's kind of like the preteen, young teen character, who is still wanting to do some good stuff occasionally, but he's also wanting to be a teenager some of the time. So I thought that he really connected well in the Aftermath books. I don't think he translates particularly well in the sequel trilogy, because he doesn't get much screen time, and he doesn't get much page time in the books. That being said, he has a little small part in Resistance Reborn, and he has the best moment in that book. The absolute best moment of that book happens with Temmin Snap Wexley. So I really like his character. Getting into my number 3 is another character that's primarily in Rogue One and in Catalyst, and that is Director Krennic. He's shown up in a few other places, but what makes Director Krennic so great is his conniving abilities. I talked about how I thought Count Vidian would have read the 48 Laws of Power and enjoyed it. I think that Krennic is the embodiment of the 48 Laws of Power. He's all about power, and he's all about the system, and making sure that his power and the system's power both go up. And so he is such a ruthless character, but not in the, I'm going to go kill a bunch of people like Count Vidian can be. He's more of a, I'm going to do something that gets me more power, that gets you less power. And he's also just so determined. That's the thing I like talking about these characters. So many of these guys are so determined about things, and it's a really unifying factor among most of my favorite characters. And they have this sense of, I'm going to get this goal accomplished. And Krennic really rises rapidly through power, and if he hadn't died in Rogue One, I wonder what would have happened to him, because he really is good. He just has a foil that is Tarkin. So now we're getting into my number 2. My number 2 is Rey Sloan. She is a villain in the A New Dawn and in the Aftermath trilogy. What makes Rey Sloan such a great character is she combines a determined character with the everyday character. Like Eli Vanto, Rey Sloan is not particularly brilliant. She is not particularly politically savvy or strategically savvy. She's kind of like a Pelion from the old expanded universe. But what makes her so good in the Aftermath books and in A New Dawn is that she is just a hardworking Imperial who's doing hard work to rise through the ranks, and she also is competent. She's not brilliant, but she's not stupid like a lot of Imperials are portrayed. She's just competent. And I really like her portrayal in these books. I like that she was meant as a one-off for A New Dawn, and then they picked her up and said, let's actually keep the continuity going. And I think it was a smart choice. And to see her recognize there's a power vacuum post-Endor, let's take that power vacuum and let's utilize it. I thought that was a brilliant move on their part. I thought that it was great to see her rise to power in the Aftermath novels. So, but she also has this sense of, she's not ruthless, but she's willing to take risks. She's willing to ruffle feathers, that type of thing. So I do enjoy the character of Rey Sloan a bit, and I hope she appears in more. She's been in short stories, novels, novellas. She's been in throughout, but she's not had her own novel yet, and we need it. So my number one is Thrawn. I had considered putting Ahsoka on this list, but I took her off the list because she really is a TV show character who happened to get a novel. But Thrawn is a character who's been in the novels, been in the TV shows, been in the novels. But Thrawn is a character plucked from the expanded universe, brought into the canon, and there's a reason they did it. It's just because he's just that good. He has the great military mindset. He has strategic. He thinks these through. He's incredibly competent and brilliant. But at the same time, he has flaws. He is not smart at politics. No, sir, he is not smart at politics. And he gets outsmarted in the political arena often. Also, Thrawn has a good heart. Sometimes he recognizes that, hey, Eli Vanto, he's been turned down for promotion. We need to fix that. Or, hey, this one of my troops, I think she'd be better in this position because I think it'll help her in her career. Thrawn has a good heart, and he's trying to help people. And that's what makes him also great. But also, he's kind of ruthless in the sense that when there's Wookiee slave trade, he's like, well, he has an end goal. And if he tries to help the Wookiees, he could hurt the Chiss in the long term. So he decides instead to just help the Chiss. And he's like, we'll help the Wookiees another day. And so he has a good sense of priorities. So I really am impressed by everything they've done with Thrawn. Every Thrawn book has been great. Every time I've like, did we really need another? Tim Zahn's an amazing author, but did we need another Thrawn book? And the answer is, we did, apparently, because they're all so great, and Thrawn is always great in all of them. So I loved this book, and I loved Thrawn in this book, and I love Thrawn in all the books. And I can't wait to see him in the TV show. So that is my ranking of my favorite Star Wars canon book characters. If you have a ranking, let me know your canon character ranking down below. And if there's ones that I totally missed that I should have put on there, let me know that as well. So until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.